The following program was produced in Hollywood and transcribed for release at this time. If you like peanuts, you'll like Skippy. From Hollywood, Skippy, America's largest selling peanut butter, presents the finest in comedy, romance, drama. In the Skippy Hollywood Theater. Starring Miss Gloria Grahame in Farewell to Birdie McKeever. Here is our director of the Skippy Hollywood Theater, Mr. Les Mitchell.
Our story is a little off the beaten path. It concerns a young lady who is charming and very straightforward, so we have a similar young lady as our star. But with this difference, it's going to take real acting skill to make Miss Birdie McKeever come to life. So again, we selected our star because of her Academy Award nomination in Crossfire and her excellent acting in such pictures as Merton of the Movies, Blonde Fever, Roughshod, and numerous others. Here she is, our star, Miss Gloria Grahame.
Thank you, Les. You always give such wonderful build-ups to your guests.
Well, perhaps it's because I have a healthy respect for anyone who has the courage and skill to become a star, Gloria. However, suppose we continue this little chat after the curtain, huh?
After the play's over, I'll be in a much more talkative mood. I'll be here.
Thank you, Gloria Grahame. And now, here is Van the Skippy Man.
According to eminent peanut experts, not one single case of peanut irritation has ever resulted from eating Skippy peanut butter. Peanut irritation, my friends, is that frightening frustration you get when you're hungry for the taste of peanuts, and then find the peanut butter in your pantry has become dry, sticky, or rancid, or has floating oil on top. But these things just don't happen with Skippy peanut butter. Why not? Well, because the exclusive Skippy process inhibits, removes, and completely bamboozles the stale makers. Those insidious chemical villains that make peanut butter go stale and become hard to digest are banished forever from Skippy. So next time you got a hankering for peanuts, scoop into your Skippy without qualm or hesitation, for Skippy peanut butter is always fresh, always tastes exactly like plump, selected, fresh-roasted peanuts. It's true, if you like peanuts, you'll love Skippy.
The Skippy Hollywood Theater presents Act One of Farewell to Birdie McKeever, written by Jane Speed and starring Miss Gloria Grahame. The curtain is up, and here is the play. Birdie McKeever had been daydreaming behind the reception desk at Tyler, Flint, Standish, and O'Rourke for nearly a year when Mr. Tyler made an amazing discovery. It all came about because Mr. Tyler's secretary was at home with a mild attack of influenza. And so shaken was Mr. Tyler by his discovery that he felt obliged to call an immediate meeting of the partners.
Gentlemen, I wonder if you are aware that the firm of Tyler, Flint, Standish, and O'Rourke, a firm noted for its thoroughgoing efficiency down to the smallest detail, has in its employ a young woman who can type only 22 1/2 words per minute.
No.
Incredible.
Are you sure?
Beyond the shadow of a doubt. I have here on my desk a letter which I gave her to type 2 hours ago. 2 hours, mind you. She just brought it in, and with 3 erasures.
I just can't believe it. It doesn't seem possible.
But who is she? The young woman I refer to occupies a reception desk in our outer office. Miss McKeever. Yes, that's it. Birdie McKeever.
McKeever?
McKeever.
The name means nothing to you?
Absolutely nothing.
First time I ever heard of it.
I once knew a Millicent McKeever in Wapakoneta, Ohio.
Come now, gentlemen. Certainly one of you knows this Miss McKeever, because one of you must have hired her.
Not I.
Nor I.
Well, O'Rourke?
Oh, you know me better than that. I wouldn't hire even an Irish lass who could type only 22 1/2 words a minute.
Strange.
Tyler.
Yes?
You don't suppose she could have been planted here as a subversive element?
Oh, I hardly think.
I know it seems far-fetched. Still, one can't be too careful. And it's just the sort of trick Flavin, Hepplewhite, Pringle, and McGrew would pull.
Yes.
I have it. Why don't we ask the young lady to come in here? She ought to know who hired her.
Hello. You gentlemen wanted to see me?
That's right, Miss...
McKeever, Mr. Tyler. Birdie McKeever, after my Aunt Birdie on my mother's side.
Yes. Now, Miss McKeever, there are a few questions I should like to ask you.
Well, you just go right ahead, Mr. Tyler. I shall be glad to help you out in any way I can.
First of all, Miss McKeever, how long have you been working here?
Well, it'll be a year next month. That's the longest I've ever worked anywhere.
I have no doubt of it. Now, do you recall who it was who hired you?
Well, nobody hired me in the proper sense of the word.
Oh, but surely...
Well, you see, the way it all happened was that my girlfriend, Mercedes McNulty...
McNulty. That name sounds familiar.
Of course it is, Tyler. I hired her myself 2 years ago. Excellent girl. Averaged well over 100 words per minute.
Oh, well... Just a year ago, next month, Mercedes' grandmother died up in Poughkeepsie, and Mercedes asked me if I'd sit in for her while she was gone. She said there was nothing to it. All I had to do was say, "Good morning, Mr. Tyler. Good morning, Mr. Flint. Good morning, Mr. Standish. Good morning, Mr. O'Rourke," and answer the phone a few times.
That's simple, huh?
Yes, sir. And that's just the way it's been, too, and until this morning, that is. You know, it was a real surprise to me when you handed me that letter to type.
It must have been.
Oh, now, don't you apologize, Mr. Tyler. And it's a mistake anyone could have made. Like I said, I'm just glad to help out. I want you to feel free to call on me any time you like.
Thank you. But if you don't mind my asking, just what became of Miss McNulty?
Oh, that. Well, it was at the funeral. And, it was a grand funeral, gentlemen. Mercedes wrote me about it. Flowers all over the place and not a dry eye in the house.
Yes, but...
Well, it was at the funeral that she met this young man. It was love at first sight, gentlemen. So, after a decent interval, out of respect to her grandmother, rest her soul, they were married.
And you just stayed on?
Well, I thought it was only right. After all, I promised Mercedes I'd sit in for her till she came back, didn't I?
Well, yes, but...
And I haven't minded it one little bit. Really, I haven't. So you needn't worry yourself over that.
One thing more, Miss McKeever. How have you been paid?
Oh, well, I just sign a little blue slip and my check comes through just as nice as you please.
I see. Thank you, Miss McKeever. I think that will be all for now.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, and it's been a real pleasure talking to all you gentlemen.
She will, of course, have to be dismissed.
Naturally.
Of course.
I suppose she must.
You know, though, Tyler, a receptionist isn't called upon to do much typing. What I mean is, she was here nearly a year before the occasion arose.
Ah, but it did arise, didn't it?
Well, yes.
There you are, then. Drat it all, it's the principle of the thing. Can't you see that? We've spent years building a reputation for a high standard of efficiency among our employees. Miss McKeever simply does not measure up.
Yes, I guess you're right at that. 22.5 words a minute. If wind of that ever got around...
Please, let's not even think about it.
Well, that's that, then. You'll tell her, I suppose.
I?
Well, I just thought you brought the matter up in the first place.
I fail to see what that has to do with it.
But who is going to tell her, then?
Well, I had thought I'd turn the matter over to whichever one of you hired her. However, no. Yes, it does pose a problem.
I suppose we could flip for it.
Wait a minute. O'Rourke was the one who hired Miss McNulty. So, indirectly at least, he's responsible for Miss McKeever and...
Exactly. Nonsense. You're the logical one, O'Rourke. You may speak to Miss McKeever in the morning.
Good morning, Miss McKeever.
Oh, Mr. O'Rourke, good morning. You were so quiet I didn't even hear you come in. And aren't you the early bird, though?
Well, the fact is, Miss McKeever, I wondered if I could have a word with you.
I can't think of anything I'd enjoy more.
Of course, if you're too busy...
Goodness, no. To tell you the honest truth, there's many a day when I'm hard put to keep myself occupied till it's time to go home.
Oh.
If you don't mind my saying so, Mr. O'Rourke, you're looking very fit this morning. Why, that's a new tie, isn't it?
Huh? Why, yes, it is. You like it?
Indeed, I do. There's a color that really does you justice.
My wife gave it to me for our anniversary.
Well, did she now? Well, you're a very lucky man. It's a sign of true love when a wife picks out a tie that looks well on her husband.
It is?
Oh, a sure sign.
Well, I'll have to tell Margaret that.
Oh, don't tell me your wife's name is Margaret.
Yes.
Well, that was my own dear mother's name. Rest her soul. From County Cork she was.
Is that a fact? My father came from Cork. Oh, that was a good many years ago, of course.
You don't mean it.
Oh, yes, indeed. Jimmy O'Rourke from County Cork, they used to call him.
Well, there's no denying it's a small world. Oh, my goodness, look at the time. Here I've been going on like the chatterbox I am, and I haven't even got this mail sorted. But never mind, Mr. O'Rourke. You can stop by later and tell me what you wanted to say.
Morning, Standish.
Good morning, Tyler.
Morning, O'Rourke.
Good morning.
Well, what's the matter with you? Out on the wrong side of bed? Oh, say, you'd better get the employment agency on the phone first thing about a replacement for Miss McKeever.
Tyler.
Yes?
Tyler, I haven't exactly told Miss McKeever yet that she's leaving us.
What?
The matter of the fact is, Tyler, I think that this may take a little more time than we had thought.
Time? What do you mean? What's so difficult about telling an employee that her services are no longer required? Done every day.
Well, I know. It sounds easy when you say it, but...
I can't deny that I'm disappointed in you, O'Rourke. I'm afraid I have no choice but to turn the entire matter over to Standish.
Who, me?
Precisely. I'll count on you to speak to Miss McKeever in the morning.
But Tyler, why should I be the one?
If my memory serves me correctly, Mr. Standish, I can remember an argument some months ago during which you insisted that you were in charge of personnel.
But I lost the argument, I thought.
You just won it, Standish. We were just a trifle slow in coming into line.
I can't do it. I have an engagement in the morning.
Could it be that you're afraid of that wee bit of a girl?
Well, you're a fine one to talk. After you fell down on the job.
Gentlemen, we've been through thick and thin together. We've formed a united front against all sorts of business troubles and competition. Are we going to let ourselves become estranged over this Birdie McKeever?
It seems highly likely.
It seems highly unlikely to me. I don't like to take advantage of my position, but as senior partner, Mr. Standish, I shall have to insist that you see Miss McKeever in the morning and clear up this ridiculous situation.
We'll return in just a moment with Act Two of the Skippy Hollywood Theater's presentation of Farewell to Birdie McKeever, starring Miss Gloria Grahame. And now, here is Van Dessetel.
It is true that chunk-style Skippy peanut butter comes all dressed up in a red label. It is not true that this red label proves Skippy peanut butter was invented by a Russian scientist in the year 1481. Actually, peanuts were not even invented until 12 years later. Furthermore, friends, my sponsor, the unassuming genius who really invented Skippy peanut butter, is a full-blooded American and was, in fact, born within 1 mile of a log cabin. Why, my sponsor is so full of pioneer stock, sterling principles, and stuff like that every single peanut that goes into Skippy peanut butter is given a loyalty test. Small wonder, then, that Skippy peanut butter tastes exactly like proud, plump, patriotic, fresh-roasted peanuts. Furthermore, Skippy is the only peanut butter that removes the stale makers, the chemical troublemakers and agitators that make peanut butter become stale and rancid. So we do so hope you'll enjoy Skippy, America's largest selling peanut butter.
The Skippy Hollywood Theater is presenting Miss Gloria Grahame as Birdie in Farewell to Birdie McKeever.
Good morning, Miss McKeever.
Why, good morning, Mr. Standish. How are you today?
What? Oh, fine. fine, just fine.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Miss McKeever, are you quite happy working for us?
Why, Mr. Standish, how thoughtful of you to ask. But don't you ever worry. I wouldn't dream of working anywhere but here.
You wouldn't.
Why, bless you, no. I'd be an ungrateful fool if I did, after all the kindness you gentlemen have showed me. Stopping by to talk to me in the morning the way you do, taking such an interest. I declare I've never seen the likes of it.
Yes. Well,
Oh, Mr. Standish, something fell out of your pocket there.
What? Oh, dear. I forgot all about that. Young Jackie asked me to mail it. It's some box tops he's sending for an atomic decoding ring or some such thing. You know how boys are.
You have a son? I didn't know that.
Oh, my, yes. I have 3.
Oh, now, isn't that grand? You wouldn't happen to have a picture of them, would you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do just happen to have a couple of snapshots.
Well, would you mind letting me see them?
Why, no, not at all. They're right in my wallet here. Now, let's see. That one was taken at camp last summer, and this is out in front of our house.
Oh, what fine, husky lads they are, and every one the very image of his father.
You think they take after me?
You can ask that. Why, I'd know them anywhere for yours.
Really? Well, the funny thing is, most people think that Ronnie, especially, he's the one in the middle here, favors his mother's side of the family.
Well, of course, I don't know your wife, but there's no mistaking the set of that chin. And about the eyes, well, that young man is his father all over again.
Well, now, that's interesting. Yes, indeed, that is interesting. Of course, I don't like to get into any arguments with my in-laws, but the fact is I have always been of the private opinion that...
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Tyler.
Good morning, Miss McKeever. Well, Standish,
that is, I was just about to go into my office.
Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Standish. You forgot your pictures.
I wonder if you realize, Standish, the spectacle you were making of yourself when I walked in the door. Snapshots all over the place and you leaning across Miss McKeever's desk like a silly, goggled-eyed boy of 16.
Was it really that bad?
Worse, much worse. On top of that, Miss McKeever has still not been informed of her dismissal.
I know.
What in the devil is happening to this firm? We've hired and fired hundreds of people since we started in business, and now, faced with the simple, clear-cut task of discharging a highly inefficient young woman, you and O'Rourke... Flint!
Yes?
Do you think that you could face the formidable Miss McKeever and tell her in plain, unmistakable English that she is fired?
Well, I don't see why not.
All right. I want you to speak to Miss McKeever in the morning, and this time I want results.
Mr. Flint, I declare I never did see such gentlemen for getting down to the office at the crack of dawn, so to speak. It's no wonder you're making a success of things.
Miss McKeever, I shall be brief.
Oh, by all means do, if it pleases you.
You understand, I speak not for myself alone, but for the entire firm of Tyler, Flint, Standish, and O'Rourke.
Oh, that must be a dreadful big responsibility.
Yes. We want you to know, Miss McKeever, that we, all of us, that is, Tyler, Standish, O'Rourke, as well as myself, are not unappreciative of the fact that you have been with us for nearly a year. And although your association with this firm did come about somewhat by accident, we assume that you've served us to the best of your ability. However...
Please, Mr. Flint, don't go on.
I beg your pardon?
If it's a raise you're after giving me, I can't let you do it.
But, Miss McKeever, please, you don't understand.
I understand that you're the dearest, kindest gentleman in all the world, and it's exactly because of that I wouldn't feel right about letting you pay me any more money. I get along very nicely on what I make now, and I'm making every cent of what I'm worth, maybe more, and nobody knows that better than I.
Well, I don't quite know what to say.
Well, you just thank the rest of the gentlemen for their kind thoughts, but tell them I couldn't accept a raise.
Well, that will certainly come as a great surprise to them.
Well, now, I'm sure they'll see my way of it if you'll just explain. Mr. Flint, would you turn this way a bit?
What? Oh, of course.
There, just as I thought. The bottom button on your coat is hanging on by only a thread.
Oh, so it is. I hadn't noticed.
You'll lose it sure before the day is out if it isn't fixed.
Yes, well, I'll just have to stop by the tailor's.
Why, you'll do no such thing. I have a needle and thread right here in my purse.
Now, that isn't necessary, Miss McKeever, really.
Oh, I can have it fixed in less time than it takes to argue about it. Stand a little closer here now, will you?
Well, all right.
Ah, there, that's better. Now I can get at it.
I guess this is what comes of being a bachelor, huh?
You, a bachelor? Well, now that's hard to believe. It seems to me that some nice woman would have set her cap a long time ago for a fine-looking man like yourself.
Well, I was engaged at one time. Her name was Caroline. But she decided in favor of someone else.
No! Why, the dear lady must have lost hold of her senses.
Oh, she seemed very sure of herself. He was a rather dashing chap. A furniture salesman.
A poor choice, if you ask me. And I'll bet she regrets it to this very day.
Well, now, I don't know about that.
There you are. That button won't be coming loose for a good long while.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, it was no trouble at all.
You know, it's odd that the subject of Caroline should come up. It just happens, you see, that she was left a widow 3 years ago. And it has occurred to me recently that it might not be out of order for me to, call on her at any rate.
What? I don't think you should have a doubt in the world.
After all, we were friends at one time, as I said. And we're both older and wiser now, so I dare say we could let bygones be bygones.
Of course you could. Why, it's a crying shame to let the poor dear lady sit there all alone.
Well, she's not exactly alone. She has 3 children.
Ah, but it's not the same. It's not the same thing at all, and you know very well it isn't.
You think that I should get in touch with her then?
It's the only decent, friendly thing to do.
You're right. By George, you're right. I'm going to call on her this very minute. Why, who knows? I might even have lunch with her.
Miss Johnson,
Yes, sir?
hasn't Flint come in yet?
No, Mr. Tyler.
Have you tried to reach him again?
We've been calling his home all day, sir, but there's no answer.
The coward. What time is it, Miss Johnson?
4:15, Mr. Tyler.
Is Miss McKeever still at her desk?
Yes, sir. She doesn't leave until 5, sir.
Very well. Send her into my office. I'll settle this thing once and for all.
Oh, it was so nice of you, Mr. Tyler, to ask me out to dinner.
Not at all. I think it's usually easier to talk in a congenial atmosphere.
Oh, it is. There's nothing like a good meal to loosen up the tongue.
Miss McKeever, I have always been of the opinion that when something has to be said, it is better to come right out and say it and not beat around the bush.
What? You must have looked into my mind, Mr. Tyler, for I was thinking that very thing myself.
You were?
Yes, sir, and you're right. I can't put it off any longer. Oh, I've been trying to tell you or one of the other gentlemen for over a week now. But you've all been so good to me, heaping kindness upon kindness. Well, I just couldn't find the heart to do it.
I don't think I quite follow you.
Well, like you said, Mr. Tyler, no good can come of beating around the bush, so I'll come right out with it. The bare fact of the matter is, I'll have to be leaving you soon.
You'll be... what?
Oh, I hope you won't think too harshly of me. It isn't that I'm ungrateful or dissatisfied. It's just that Tim, he's my young man. Tim has been after me to marry him for 3 months now, and I finally set the date for a week from next Thursday.
I just can't believe it.
Oh, I know, sir. I was afraid you'd take it pretty hard. But don't you worry now. I'm sure things will all work out for the best.
I think you gentlemen will be interested to know that after this week, Miss McKeever will no longer be with us.
Oh?
You told her.
If you don't mind my asking, Tyler, just how did you finally break it to her?
Firmness of purpose, naturally. Keep your goal in sight and let nothing stop you. However, I admit that my task was made somewhat easier by the fact that Miss McKeever is planning to be married shortly.
Well, what do you know?
Isn't that nice?
I hope he's good enough for her.
Yes. That brings me to my reason for calling this meeting. In view of the fact that Miss McKeever will have been with us for nearly a year, I thought perhaps it would be appropriate for us to present her with a a parting gift, a sort of nest egg, so to speak.
By all means.
Oh, quite.
Oh, count me in.
Very well, then. That's agreed. Now, as to the amount, it occurred to me that a suitable sum might be $500.
$500? Oh, wait till Tim hears about this. Why, he'll want to come and shake the hand of every blessed one of you.
Well, we just hope you'll be very happy.
Indeed, we do.
We all wish you the best.
That goes for me and Caroline, too.
Oh, you're all so good to me, I think I'm going to cry.
Oh, no.
Oh, none of that now.
Here's my handkerchief.
Oh, thank you. Well, anyway, gentlemen, you'll be glad to know your kindness isn't going to go unrewarded. I've got a piece of good news for you that, well, I've been saving it till the last.
Well, out with it.
By all means.
Yes, let's hear it.
Well, I talked to my sister Peggy last night, and it's all settled. She's agreed to take my place with you after I've left. Well, gentlemen, did you hear what I said?
Yes. Yes, I guess we were all a little overwhelmed.
Your sister, you say?
That's right, my sister Peggy. She hasn't quite my knack for typing and such office matters as that, but she's as sweet and honest as the day is long, and I know you're going to love her.
Yeah, really, Miss McKeever, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have.
Oh, now that's all right, Mr. Tyler, and don't you bother thanking me. After all, I felt it was the least I could do.
And the curtain falls on Act Two of the Skippy Hollywood Theater's presentation of Farewell to Birdie McKeever, starring Miss Gloria Grahame, who returns in just a moment.
If you like peanuts, you'll love Skippy peanut butter. If you like peanuts, you'll certainly enjoy creamy-style Skippy peanut butter in the Blue Label jar, triple milled to a buttery smoothness. And if you're fond of eating peanuts right out of the shell, you're bound to like chunk-style Skippy peanut butter, Red Label. It has all the advantages of creamy style, plus crunchy little nuggets of fresh roasted peanuts generously sprinkled throughout. Now, both styles stay fresh and sweet to the last spoonful. That's Skippy peanut butter. Now, here is our director, Les Mitchell.
And our star, Miss Gloria Grahame, who for the second time in our theater has more than earned the curtain call.
Thank you very much, Les. As I said earlier, you say the nicest things.
And as I said before, because I believe them. Now, what about bringing us up to date on your current activities?
Well, I just finished In a Lonely Place with Humphrey Bogart.
Well, that sounds very interesting.
Les, I didn't think you'd pick on anything that obvious. Besides, my husband, Nicholas Ray, directed it.
Oh. I guess I better take it back then. Anyway, you enjoyed making the picture.
I really did, Les. And I've enjoyed being in your theater again.
Well, not nearly as much as we enjoyed having you with us again, I'm sure, Gloria.
Bye for now.
Goodbye, Miss Gloria Grahame, and hurry back. Coming attractions include that wonderful child actress, Natalie Wood, the always popular Wayne Morris, yours truly in another acting assignment, and many others. Join us, won't you?
In the cast, you heard Miss Gloria Grahame as Birdie McKeever, Herbert Rawlinson as Standish, Herb Butterfield as Tyler, Dana Hurley as O'Rourke, Fred Howard as Flint, and Madeline Mitchell as Miss J. Music was composed and conducted by Del Castillo. Farewell to Birdie McKeever was written by Jane Speed, edited by Bud Lesser, produced and directed by Les Mitchell. Miss Gloria Grahame appeared through the courtesy of RKO Radio Productions, producers of Where Danger Lives, starring Robert Mitchum, Faith Dumergue, and Claude Rains. And Desautels speaking for the Skippy Hollywood Theater. This program was produced in Hollywood and transcribed for release at this time.